All right. Hey, everybody, it's Rob. And this is our January 23rd BSPU call. And last week we did miss. I was out of town actually for the entire week at two different conferences. So my apologies for that. I had some things I wanted to talk about. That's why I didn't have one of our PR people or somebody else do the call. But we will be, of course, as I've shared before, they'll be sharing content and different things that we're doing for our clients and kind of exciting things that are coming up. I am recording, and just to reiterate how these calls work and what we're going to be doing is usually for the first 15 to 20, could go as long as 30 minutes. I share some things that are working right now from a business perspective that I think might be helpful for you. And then I open it up for any questions that you have. And the questions can be as related to anything, meaning about the book that you're writing right now, help with your title or hook. It could be something regarding PR or funnels or, book launches, you fill in the blank, whatever it is that you need. What I share mainly on these calls is what my expertise is, which is really about the marketing piece. It's client attraction. It's using your book and your other resources to grow your business. So that's what I'm going to be sharing about today. And of course, I'm happy to answer any questions that you have in that regard, or as I said, anything about the book in general. So Jim Rohn used to have this saying. Of course, Jim's passed away, but very, very successful network marketing person, but marketing person in general and mentor. And Jim used to say, of course, one of his statements was, of course he's doing well. Look at everything he's doing. Or, of course she's doing amazing. Look at everything that she's doing. And I would translate that for you today as this. If you're not making the kind of money that you want to be making, or if you want to grow your income in 2018, then you have to do one thing more than you did in 2017, 16, etc. And that is you have to be making offers. You have to have something that you are offering on a regular basis. And when I say regular basis, I mean if you want to make money every day, then you need to be making offers every day for people in your marketplace that are interested in having a need met that you can meet. Last week, actually 10 days or so ago, I did my beginning of the year webinar. And either at the end of every year or at the very beginning of the new year, I do a webinar, drive a ton of traffic to it. I hadn't done a live webinar in probably 8 or 9 months. And I drive a ton of traffic to it. The webinar itself can go long. In fact, I did it live twice. I did it live on January 10th and then live again on January 12th. The 10th event went for almost 3 hours with me answering questions. The one on the 12th was more like 2.5. That was a Friday afternoon. I think people wanted to leave. I don't think they wanted to hear anything else. I had over 1,000 people registered for the webinar itself, which cost us, somewhere in the range of $6,000 in Facebook advertising. And I made an offer. I said in that offer that I would only accept 10 people. And the way the offer went was it was for our full price program, which normally would range between $14,000 and $27,000. I added in some bonuses and I made an offer and I said we would only accept 10 people, and here's how you accept this offer, or at least you learn about more details. I said nobody, and I myself do not think that because I've talked to you for 3 hours on this webinar, you're going to click a button and pay me $25,000. So here's how we're going to do it. You're going to put down a $1,000 deposit, and you're going to have a conversation with one of my author development coaches, either Bob or David, who are in that room, and then you're going to have a conversation with me. We're going to answer every specific question that you have. Even though I answered questions, going for almost 3 hours, you're going to have some specific questions as well. And then we're going to decide, and you're going to decide if this is a fit and we should move forward. In a couple of cases, we decided, now 10 people, gave us the $1,000 deposit. Maybe more than 10 did, but I said we would close it at 10, so we closed it at 10. So maybe there were some others that missed out on it. I don't know, but you want to be a person of integrity. So I, in integrity, took 10 offers. We've actually refunded one of those people because they were not a fit for us. Now, what does it mean that they're not a fit for us? It's kind of interesting. Someone may not be a fit for you for a number of reasons. And I'm digressing ever so slightly, but this is important because I got annoyed by something this morning and I just want to share it. So someone may not be a fit for you for several reasons. And when you have a business that is generating tons and tons of leads and opportunities and you're making offers, then you can be more discriminating about who you're choosing to work with. And so this person that gave the $1,000 deposit had an initial call with David on our team, who's just fantastic, and then was going to have call number 2 with me. And they sent me a very long, and I read it as snarky email, asking very, very specific things and asking for things over and above what the offer was. I felt it was snarky, so I tried to be nice, but I was very firm, and I responded in yellow. And I basically made all of my responses in yellow, and I said, I'm happy to have, call number 2. And the person sent me about a paragraph long, and I was right. Sometimes you read feelings and emotions in email that aren't there, so you have to be careful on email. At least I do, and because I'm so sensitive. And so I was right, though. This person was like had an edge about them. And this is starting the relationship with us. And so they sent me like 2 paragraphs of just, how Rob, you should have explained that more clearly in your offer, and your offer was not clear. And I responded back and I said, look, I spent 3 hours on the webinar. I stayed on until every single question was answered. And I said, I don't know how I can do any better than that. And so let me explain this. The reason we do one-on-one phone calls is because there may be questions that I didn't answer as specifically as you would like, but here's what I've learned thus far. I've learned that this relationship is starting on a bad foot, and when it starts on a bad foot, it usually goes downhill, not gets better. So let me refund your money, and let's just part as friends, or at least not getting any more on each other's nerves than we already have. And I refunded their money, and you go your separate way and I go my separate way. That's not the point of anything that I wanted to share, but I wanted to share that with you because I think it's important that you're discriminating about who you work with. You don't want to have a business where you're working with people that not only are you serving them and you're doing the things that you say you're going to do, and even above what you say you're going to do, but you're working with people that aren't pleasant to you. No reason to ever have a business like that. I don't have one. So let me give you the results of the webinar that we did. So of the 10, and I'm going to give you the total sales, but we have done a refund at this point. But of the total 10 deposits and sales that we made, 5 are what we call launches, which meaning that their book is already written and we're launching and doing PR. 4 of them were full creates, meaning that we're going to create the book, publish it, promote, profit, all of that. And 1 was actually a PR only. So it was $163,000 in sales that we did. And there'll be a slight subtraction from that, depending on what happens. But obviously we've already refunded, but $163,000 total in sales, of which probably about 30% of that we've collected thus far. And the rest of it will be collected in payments because for most of you that's how we work. Give a slight discount if people pay it in full. And this is from 1 offer that I made basically live. I made it twice. The only reason I did it live the second time is because I forgot to push the record button. And that was not a gimmick. I legitimately forgot to push it. I pushed it 30 minutes into the webinar. I'm like, oh, geez, now I got to do this all over again. So I did it again live on Friday. We mailed it to the list, and then we cut it off when we got 10. So now that's, for a lot of people, that's pretty good income, maybe even for many, many months or maybe even for a year. For us, that's a campaign. That's a really good, solid offer that we made. That's going to mean that we have a really great January. Now, besides that, let me go ahead and share my screen because I want to show you all of this. And I don't want to make this about me, but I'm trying to make this about the stuff that we're doing that you guys can imitate, basically. So, so you guys should see my email inbox just for our applications. So these are our applications on a daily basis. You can see this is yesterday, January 22nd, 2018. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, and a couple of new clients that signed up. But 13 people applied to have author development coaches or calls with David and or Bob, and not me. Now, this is besides any type of specific campaign that we're running. I hope everybody can see my screen. It says I'm sharing, so I hope you guys can. What's the point? The point is, the more offers you make, the more opportunities you are going to have to earn. Now, I did not need to do that webinar. I didn't. And in fact, I debated it because in December, I did 2 live events at the beginning of December, which meant we had, one of the best Decembers, actually our best December ever. And now here comes January of 2018, and I could choose to do this webinar or not. But if I chose not to, some of these people would have become my clients, but most of them would not have become clients of Bestseller Publishing. So I'd say conservatively, it added $100,000 in additional revenue to us at BSP. The point is, like Jim Rohn says, of course she's doing great, because look at all that she does. All that she does, meaning all the different ways that you make offers, is where the revenue comes in. And if you choose not to make offers, then guess what? You're going to not earn revenue that you could potentially do. This is an ad that we run on a regular basis. You can see this is the Kevin Harrington partner book that we do. It's an anthology book. You can see it's got 2,200 likes. It's got 269 comments. It's been shared 579 times. Why? Because we run it over and over and over again, because it produces these. It produces strategy session applications where people become clients. And just yesterday, one of these new client forums was the Kevin Harrington offer, which is it's almost an $11,000 offer to write a chapter and also get a video testimonial from Kevin Harrington, or it can be one payment of $8,500. But basically, that's to be in a book with Kevin, have a event with Kevin, and get a 90-second video endorsement that you write out with Kevin. It's a pretty good offer, but the reality is, it's an offer that we constructed, we put together, and we've been running it for about 6 months now with revenues of probably about $400,000. Now, is that the same offer as our normal publish, promote, profit? No, it's really a completely different offer. Instead of us doing a book for you, if we're ghostwriting, or us launching your book, we've partnered with this celebrity in the space, Kevin, who we've done work for, and we said, look, we'll do a partnership with you. We'll run all the ads. We'll do all the work. We want you to do the endorsement videos, and we want you to kind of be the face of this, and we're going to sell chapters, and we'll handle the writing and all of that stuff. And this is an offer that's made us an additional $400,000 to $500,000 in 2017. Not bad, but it's an offer that we constructed, right? That we kind of pulled out of figuring out what might serve our clients the best. This is what the landing page looks like for that Kevin Harrington offer. You can see last month, 30 days, we spent about $22,600 on Facebook ads. Now, that's a lot of money. I get that. And some of you look at that and think, man, that's a whole bunch of money spent. I can never spend that much. Well, when I started advertising on Facebook, when I started advertising on the radio, when I started advertising in newspapers, I started with very, very small and tiny amounts. In my mortgage company back in the early 2000s, we spent $20,000 a month on newspaper print ads, which blows my mind that we actually did that. Why did we do that? Well, because we tried it with $500 to $1,000 one month, and we got a return on investment. So we reinvested. It grew. In my financial services company in 2009, 10, 11, I did my own radio show, and I did radio ads. My very first month of doing radio ads, I spent just a couple of $100. I got a return on investment. I reinvested. And before you know it, we were running nationwide ads for the financial services company, spending $25,000 a month. So same thing with Facebook. So don't worry about these numbers here, right? Don't worry about 22,683. Start with the $83.74 and make an offer. Use the tools that we have at hand to make as many offers as possible. This is the webinar offer that we did last month. These are stats from December 24th to January 23rd. So basically the last 30 days. We drove almost 2,500 unique visitors to the page. We got about 1,400 opt-ins to that. That's for the webinar. Actually, that's more than I thought we did. I actually thought we got a little lower amount than that, but it's showing 1,400, 57% opt-in rate, which is really, really good. And, how did we do that? We did that using Facebook. So this is the webinar itself. You can see my January 10th webinar. We had 180 people live on it. Now that doesn't mean 180 stayed through the whole time. January 12th, we had 101. That was a Friday afternoon. That doesn't mean 101 stayed on the entire time. The point that I'm making is not you need to do a webinar. It's not you need to advertise in newspapers. It's not that you need to spend $22,000 on Facebook. It's not that you need to get a partner like Kevin Harrington. The point that I'm making is you have to craft offers, and you need to be pitching, meaning you need to have an opportunity to make an offer to people on a regular basis. This is my calendar, right? Here's what my calendar looks like. Victor is a current client that wants to do book number 2, so I scheduled that call with him. Sal's a current client. Russell's a new potential client that I had a call with him. Sam is a new potential client that I call with him. These are referrals. These are people that I'm speaking to, and guess what? I'm making an offer. That's besides all of these that are coming in where my team is also making offers. Jim Rohn, what's the point? Of course, she's doing amazing. Look at everything she does. Look at all the different offers that are being made. You need to do the exact same thing. When you do it, then guess what? You get great results. And you can grow your business just as big as you want to grow it based on the results that you want to achieve. Does that make sense? So here's your kind of to-do list. I showed you some stuff that we're doing. Right now, if you could, see some of the background, you can see on there, that's a new PR certification that we're doing at Bestseller Publishing. That's a whole new offer to the marketplace that we're going to be making. That's something that we're crafting right now. This afternoon, Austin and I are leaving. We're going to go look at new hotel space in Pasadena because we're going to be doing 2 or 3 new live events just in the next roughly 2 to 3 months. So we're going to look at hotel space because we've never done it in Pasadena, and I want to do it right here close to home because Pasadena is such a cool place. That's more offers that we're going to be making. So you need to be thinking, how can I, in congruency with my expertise, how can I make as many offers as possible to the marketplace and help people to experience success? Your book positions you as the authority. Your book gives you the credibility, but your book isn't the only tool that you're going to use to make offers. You want to use every other tool in your arsenal, including the telephone, including social media, including live events, if that's something you want to do, including speaking on other people's stages, etc. And you need to start mapping out how to do that. So let me give you a few to-dos, and then I'm going to open it up to any questions that you guys might have. So to-do number 1, you need to take a good hard look at your January calendar. If you want to take an even, if you're unsatisfied in any way with your 2017 income, then you want to take a good look even a few months of 2017, and you want to see, okay, how was I making offers on these days? Was I making offers on these days? Okay, and that I shared a bunch of different ways that we do that. It's not just speaking one-on-one with somebody, but ultimately, if you're selling something expensive, that's what you're going to be doing. So number 1, what kind of offers do I have scheduled for 2018 right now in January? How many have I made between January 1st and January 23rd? And how many more am I going to make? And if you don't have much on your calendar, then more than likely your income isn't going to be what you want it to be. That's just the way it works. So number 2, you're going to take You're going to look at everything that you have done. You're going to then map out what are the best offers that I can make. What are the things that I'm doing right now, whether you're selling coaching or consulting, or you have some type of business that you're offering people to. What are your offers? I mean, write them out, map them out. How much am I charging for this offer? How do I make this offer? Just start, making your list. I love legal pads, right? Doesn't need to be fancy with some computer program. Break out a legal pad and just say, okay, offer number one is, on a daily basis, we drive people to all kinds of landing pages, etc., for one-on-one calls with my author development coaches. So I want to have 10 strategy session applications per day coming in. Okay, that's offer number one. Offer number two, I want to do some type of speaking engagement. I want to speak in front of, my potential clients and make them some type of offer. Great. Start mapping out what that looks like. That's step number two. Step number three, map out your calendar at least 1 to 2 months in advance, because these are things that you need to be planning for in advance. You need to think right now, what are the campaigns and the offers that I'm going to be making in February and March? February is even a little bit late, but not incredibly late. But certainly by March, what are the campaigns? What are the offers that I'm going to be making? And as you make more offers to people, your income will grow. It will increase. You'll get feedback from the marketplace, and the marketplace will tell you, hey, that offer is a great offer and I want it. Or the marketplace will tell you, you need to adjust that offer because no one is really interested in it. But the more offers you make, the more feedback you're going to get, the more opportunities to be successful, and the more money, period, you will make. All right. I've said enough in 24 minutes. So let's open it up to any questions that you guys have, and hopefully that makes sense. So DM says, very helpful. Thank you for the share. Awesome. You are super welcome. Kim says, how long is your current webinar? So Kim, my current webinar, just like pure content, is probably an hour and 20 minutes or so, maybe an hour and 15. Then the offer itself takes another 15, maybe 20 minutes to go through. So I can get through the whole thing in about an hour 45, and then I open it up for any questions that people have. And I might even share some specific things based on the feedback that people have been giving me along the way. So when I did that Wednesday webinar, that was 3 hours. It was at least an hour of Q&A. That I did with people, answered, and I'm going to stay on and answer every single question, because every time I've done one of these webinars, I have made more than 6 figures. Okay. So I'm willing to stay on for 3 hours or as long as I need to answer every single question. Tiffany says, I love Alexis. Hey, Rob, did you ever chat? Who I referred? Tiffany, I don't remember. I don't talk to the ghostwriters. I'm sure I passed that on. Randy and Sydney. Sydney's our ghostwriter manager. She's the one that kind of vets, and then I give the final thumbs up or what. So hopefully that did happen. You can ask Elisa if it did, and if it didn't, I will send me the info again, and I'll pass it on to Randy and Sydney. You can reach Sydney in her office, 626-765-9750. And I'm plugging that in for everybody to see. There you go. Kim says it's a funnel process, so it's not automated. You have to explain what you mean by that, Kim. So it is automated, meaning that like this is the funnel. These are the stats of the funnel. Let me go back. So this is the funnel itself. This is our webinar funnel. And, oh, I'm not sharing my screen. Sorry. Duh. Way to go, Rob. Hold on a second. Let me share my screen. All right, Kim. So this is the webinar funnel. What I showed you first right here, let's see. These are the stats that I showed you in the beginning, remember? 2,471 uniques, 1,416 opt-ins. These are the funnel steps that we have. It's a very simple funnel. Basically, the registration page, this is what it looks like. You can see Friday, January 12th was the second webinar we did. Time left until the webinar starts is 0 because, it's already been done. They opt in with name and email address. That's all we're asking for. If they do click this button, then we ask for mobile phone. So we do collect mobile phone numbers, and we do a text alert prior to the webinar starting. So all this is, then there's a confirmation page. I'll show you what that looks like. Here's the confirmation page. Confirmation page is, okay, you're confirmed. Free webinar reveals how blah, blah, blah. Add to the calendar. And then also I asked them, hey, you're all set for January 12th. While you wait for the details to arrive, if you'd like a one-on-one strategy session, then click this button. And so they can click that button and apply for a strategy session application right kind of on the spot. So we'll talk to them even before the webinar goes. So that's something that we like to do. And then there's a replay room because I do email to my list for the replay, and I email it basically for 3 or 4 days until I get the 10 applications, the 10 $1,000 deposits. Once I get the 10 $1,000 deposits, then it comes down, or it comes down, when I say it's going to come down, which is usually in about 3 days. So like the last webinar was on a Friday, and that was Martin Luther King holiday was on Monday. So I closed it Monday at midnight. And that's it. And then to start the program, they click here, and basically to start the program, hey, here's where we've gone ahead and moved this to another page. But basically to start the program, we simply ask for a $1,000 application fee. That's it. And that was 100% refundable because, again, we wanted the right people. So I let people know if for any reason you change your mind and you don't want to do this, no problem. But if you want to have a conversation with me and if you want this bonus, then you have to put the $1,000 down. That's the only way that you were going to get it. And that ensured that I was going to be speaking to people that were really, really serious. I didn't want to speak to any tire kickers. I didn't want to speak to anybody that I was going to have to sell, right? Because I spent 3 hours selling on the webinar. I wasn't interested in doing that again. I was only interested in talking to people that saw it and go, you know what, Rob, this is clearly for me. I'm in. So let me stop the share there. Let's see. Kim says it's always a live webinar. You don't have it playing automatically showing a timer of when the next one is starting. No, we do have an auto webinar as well, Kim. But I do something that I'm not aware of anybody else doing, and that is I'm selling this $25,000 thing on the webinar where I'm actually giving people the price of it. The auto webinars, I've not only have never seen anybody give the price and sell it with a $1,000 deposit on a $25,000 thing. The auto webinars are typically a lower ticket, $997, $397, something like that. So we do have an auto webinar, but it sells our BSP University, which is either $97 a month or one payment of $997, which gives access to everything. So, the auto webinars are fine. We use auto webinars on a regular basis, but not to sell the high ticket thing. Hopefully that makes sense. Kim says, okay, so it's not something they can watch whenever they want and feel like it's live. It's only live only. Yes, it is only live. Again, that's the full price thing. Because again, I haven't seen anybody else do it. If you have, let me know. But where someone actually gives the price, of $25,000 or whatever the amount is, I've never seen anybody do that. I've seen people do, the big offer and then to a telephone call without like telling what the price is or without it being a paid deposit. But again, I only do this webinar once or twice a year. And as I said, it's always meant an additional 6 figures in revenue. Now, you're asking a lot of questions about the webinar because you're obviously interested in the webinar, but don't forget the whole point of this was not so much the webinar. It was you got to figure out how to make as many offers as possible to grow your business. And how are you going to do that? You can do it with Auto Webby. You can do it with a live Webby, whatever you want. Okay, that makes sense. That strategy feels much better to me, Rob. I love that you give the price for the high ticket item. Yeah, I don't know what to say except I just tested it one day and I said, here I am doing these live webinars selling $1,000 thing, and I would make $5,000, $6,000, $7,000, $10,000. which is great, right? On an information product. I was not unhappy with that. But I just thought, I'm spending 2.5 hours. Why don't I just, we're really growing the publishing company. We're not growing our info products. Why don't I just give it a shot and make the full ticket? And let's just show people exactly what they're getting, show them all the incredible results that we've had for people. And, most people were going to freak out and say, I can't afford that much money. But the right clients that are on the webinar are going to go, wow, okay, I'm in, or at least I want to have a conversation with someone and get a few more questions answered. And it worked exactly like that. The only thing is, I don't think that we could do it every single week. Maybe we could if we had enough new traffic sources, but we'd have to spend a ton more. I think many times more than $22,000 a month on advertising new traffic sources for cold traffic. So anyway, just my thought on that. So hopefully that makes sense. Good feedback though. So any other questions? Anything else I can answer? If you want to go completely off topic and ask about your book or ask about something that you're working on or ask about PR, I'm happy to answer those things. If not, then, hey, what my expertise is in helping you find ways to monetize your authority, to monetize your credibility and positioning. And I'm telling you, even before your book is completed, if you're right now in the process of getting your book done, don't let that stop you from figuring out what are some ways that I can be making offers to people on a regular basis. If you've ever heard of someone named Kevin Nations, Kevin is a good friend of mine. In fact, I was at his house in Vegas just over the past weekend. That's where I was last week. Kevin is like a magician at using organic Facebook, meaning that he doesn't spend money on paid ads, and he uses organic Facebook traffic to do several $1 million a year in income, and that's where he's making offers. So I would suggest you follow him. I'd go to just look up Kevin Nations on Facebook, go to his news feed, and just start looking at his past posts. In December, he's got post after post after post with some offers that he made that, you can model this kind of stuff. So there's lots and lots and lots of ways to do it. You just have to do it. And when you do it, your income is going to increase. You're going to make money. So Tiffany says, still interviewing and working on my book. I am on Harrow. Would you suggest any outreach prior to completion? Absolutely, Tiffany. Just like if you want to make more money right now, start making more offers. If you want to increase your credibility and authority right now, then start getting some media. Look at Harrow, helpareporterout.com. There's always great opportunities there. Go into the membership area and you'll find tons of training on how to, book yourself on media and what stuff you can be doing. Obviously, if you're one of our done-for-you clients, then we're going to be doing this for you down the road. But why not start doing it for yourself right now? Totally. You could totally do that. Issa says, I'm meeting with the project manager tomorrow. Awesome, Issa. Congrats. What do I need to do to prepare so that meeting can be most effective? I finally filled out the questionnaire. So many things happening. I'm glad you finally filled out the questionnaire. I did see it come through, by the way. I see all the questionnaires come through. So here's what I would most recommend. You probably already have ideas like on your title and subtitle and what you want to write about. What I would do that you're not going to spend a lot of time with the project manager with, but what I would do is I would go into that marketplace and look for other people that are selling to a similar market. No, that are selling to the same market as you, the exact same market. So in other words, if I were, getting into the publishing business for the first time, I would start doing some research and look at the other companies and people that are selling to my marketplace. I'd look at, Book in a Box. I'd look at Self-Publishing School. And I would learn what their offers are, what their language is, etc. So if I was selling to women coaches, I would look at Shanda Sumter. I would look at Fabienne Fredrickson. I would look at, and I would look at their language. I would look at their offers, because the more you know about your market, the better it's going to be in crafting a great hook, title, subtitle. So what you filled out is great. I reviewed it. I saw it come through already, and it's very complete. So I think you and the project manager will have a great call over that stuff. But I would say the more you can know and feel really comfortable about your marketplace, like the better. And always start with research in that. Plus, it'll give you great ideas on offers to make. Like, what are they selling that's successful? You could sell the same thing, but just you selling it instead of them, right? This is you. This is your unique, your unique power and beauty in the universe, as opposed to their uniqueness. So is that helpful? Does that make sense? Awesome. Irene says, my book title idea is now. Book title idea is raise the standard rather than you've got what it takes. What do you think? Raise the standard. Yeah, I probably need to know more, Irene. I like that. You've got what it takes is maybe a little tired. Raise the standard. I just need to know more. I don't dislike it. I like it. But I need to know more. I need to know who the market is. I need to know what the subtitle is. I need to know, who you're trying to really attract with this. A book about empowerment. Get that. Do you have a subtitle for it, or is raise the standard? What's the subtitle? You can absolutely, you're asking about a podcast. Tiffany's asking about a podcast. So let me go back to Irene first. Okay, so Irene, here's what I'd say. What I just said to Isa is, of course, completely applicable to you. So, a book about empowerment. So think about the women coaches, consultants that are in the empowerment business, or in the business of empowering others, whether it be women or men. Start looking at their stuff. Opt in to their free giveaways. Go to their Facebook and Twitter accounts and follow them. Look at what their posts are, and you'll start to see what the language is in, say, women's empowerment, if that's what your book is about. And then that will tell you more about raise the standard than anything else. If it's empowerment for women specifically, then raise the standard maybe to gender neutral. Maybe it needs to be more, and maybe you can do that with the subtitle, but I need to know what your thoughts are on the subtitle before I can really give you an opinion on the title itself. So I would say do some research, look in the empowerment industry, and start seeing what the language is. Start seeing what other people are offering. Don't knock their stuff off, of course. But just look at what the language is and what the verbiage is. You'll see that industry has a language onto itself, and you'll want to use their language to speak to them about your thoughts and your book. So hopefully that makes sense. Tiffany says, I just released my podcast where I will eventually be talking about the book. May I post my podcast link here? So totally you can, Tiffany. I would also say post it in the Facebook group. But there are great people that you can have on your podcast. So I would say post it and ask for people that might be interested in being on your podcast. This is going to be a win-win for both of you. Number one, they're going to give your podcast exposure because you'll want them to share it with their social media. And number two, your podcast followers will give them exposure. So it's a win-win. So definitely, I would say post it in the Facebook group. Let me say one thing about the Facebook group. We've had some postings in there recently where people just post their book link and go away. And I've deleted a lot of those. Why do I delete them? Because this isn't the kind of group where you just kind of, spam it and then go away. No, we want your engagement in the group. I'm happy for you to post your links. I'm happy for you to talk about your podcast. But if you just post a link and then go away, it feels like spam. So I would say, engage with other people in the group, comment on other people's posts and et cetera. And then when you post a link, other people will engage and other people, and we'll certainly send people there to engage. We want you to to have value because of your relationships with each other. So Tiffany says, and I think everybody should see this. Hi, all. I'm looking to chat with women in business specifically. The podcast is there. You can reach out to me if interested. info@peaceloveandwine.com. That's a great domain. Cheers. So awesome, Tiffany. So go ahead, post that in the group, but let's get some engagement. In other words, you engage with others and they'll want to engage with you. And I would certainly recommend for all the rest of you that are here and just kind of listening, that you do the same thing, that the group is a place for there to be engagement, not just kind of a quick hit, send your link, put your book up, and then run away. Okay? So, wow, we've been cranking. I've been talking a lot. Any other questions that you got? What is the name of the Facebook group? Well, if you're in this group, you should have that. The Facebook group is the Bestseller Mastermind. So it's Facebook Bestseller Mastermind. Let me see if I can go to it, and then here I'll put the link in there. So if you're part of our BSP University, then, and that's how you have access to this, then certainly you have access to the group too. So for anybody that's not in it, that is the link to the group. It is a private group, so you'll get vetted, and we'll just make sure that you are part of the program, and then you'll be added in. So hopefully that makes sense. Anyway, this is all recorded, so I don't see any other questions. Great to be with you. Plan on being together next week. I'm going to share more about the stuff that we're doing in this first quarter, like the PR certification launch, like the new events that we have coming up, etc. I think that'll be exciting to you guys, because maybe some of you will want to imitate the things that we're doing and model them, because they will work in your industries, not just mine. So you guys are great. Have a great day, and talk to you next week.